Good evening, Ripley. I would just like to thank you guys again. This is an amazing event. I'm really glad to be here. It's a blessing, and I'm real grateful. This addict that I'm about to introduce to you is near and dear to me, and I've watched him change and grow, right? And you know, the thing is we recover at different rates and times, right? But we're in this process together. I'm not going to tell this story. I just want to tell you I love you. Come give it away.
I paid her to say that. Okay, for people who wasn't here yesterday, last night, I'm the asshole husband. My name is Gordon, and I'm an addict. First, let me thank Ripley and Cooper for asking me to come up and share my strength, hope, and experience. For anyone to ask me to come and talk, it's an honor and a privilege, and I'm real grateful. Because he could have chose thousands or any other addict, but he chose me to have God work through me so I can come up here and try to share a message of hope, right? I would like to read something. No, first disclaimer. For the people that were here last night, you guys might have seen my wife going at me. But what you didn't see, I was sitting up front picking with her. So that's why that happened, you know. I was sitting up here literally picking with her. So my wife doesn't hate me.
I'm married.
Today. I would like to read this, and it comes out of the Lord will be revealed. It says, we come to know ourselves for the first time. We experience new sensations. To love, to be loved. To know that people care about us and that we have concern and compassion for others. We find ourselves doing and enjoying things that we never thought that we would be doing. We make mistakes and we accept and learn from them. We experience failure. We learn how to succeed. Often we have to face some type of crisis during our recovery, such as death of a loved one, financial difficulties, or divorce. These are the reality of life, and they don't go away just because we get clean. Some of us, even after years of recovery, have found ourselves jobless, homeless, and penniless. We entertained the thought that staying clean was not paying off. And the old thinking, that same thinking, stirred up self-pity, resentment, and anger. No matter how painful life tragedies can be for us, one thing is clear. We must not use no matter what. Okay, I can't stand still. Can I take this thing out? Yeah. I'm important. All right. My name is Gordon, and I'm an addict, and I guess y'all know where I'm from. Right? It's not my fault. That's where my mom lived. This process, I've been in this process for, my claim day is February 23rd, 2003. So. And through the grace of God, there is no relapse in my story. Right? I picked up one surrender chip, and I vowed never to pick up another. Right? So I do the work so I don't have to go back and surrender and pick up another surrender trip. You know, the literature tells us, and I believe the literature. I am not a book-thumping guru that can tell you on page 98, second paragraph, I can't do that, right? But I know the literature. And what the literature says, with the help of a higher power in this program, you never have to use again. And in Relapse and Recovery, it talks about that we've never seen a person work this program and go back and use, right? So I believe that. So I sell myself, and I tell anyone who asks, I'm never going to get high again. But I do understand that I suffer from more than just the drug use. You know, I'm an addict first. Drugs is what I did. It's not. It doesn't make me an addict. I'm an addict because I'm just fucked up in the head, right? But I found a wrench that fits every nut. You know what I'm saying? And it's called the Rooms of Narcotics Anonymous, right? And even though I don't use any drugs, my disease will still act the fuck out, man. For the past hour, my disease told me everybody needs to go to the dining room. Hopefully won't nobody stay in here because they're not going to listen to you. They're going to get up and walk out. You have nothing to say, nothing to share. And I'm real grateful for the members of Narcotics Anonymous. A member walked up to me who I just met today, pulled me in the corner and prayed with me. That's why I read that more will be revealed. We can be loved and love other people, right? You know, when I came up here, it was just me and my wife. I didn't know nobody. And I feel at home. I'm at home. For the first time in my life, I feel at home. You know, I don't know if any of those new members that stood up for 1 day and 7 days and 6 days and 9 days. Man, you are fucking miracles. You are the most important person, man. That shit is like a high for me. To see a new member come in here and get this, that shit's amazing. I love it, man. I love it. And I didn't come in here bringing with love, open-mindedness, and honestness, right? I'm the addict that came in, said that, okay, my only problem is the drugs. I'm going to stop using drugs, and my life is going to get great. It got better. But then life showed up, and I wasn't prepared for it because I hadn't did the work. I'm sharing my story. Please don't try this shit at home.
Come on.
I came into the rooms, I got a few 24 hours, and I told myself, fuck it. I got a job, I got a wife, I got a business, I don't need y'all. But years later, I found myself balled up in the fetal position, clean, wondering how the fuck I got here again. You know what I'm saying? Still sick, without the use of drugs. Found myself homeless, jobless, being locked up, clean. Wondering why. I put down the dope. That was my only problem. You know, I remember, and I'm an addict, I'm a flashback. So for identification purposes, right? Because I know I don't look like a crackhead. Thank God I don't look like what I've been through. I've been here a few 24 hours, so I was able to go buy some teeth. You know, put some glasses on. You know, take a bath. But I do flashback in my talk, right? And I remember my last arrest. And I was on my way to the liquor store to get something to drink, right? And my disease told me, let's go break into this bar. Okay, that sounds like a good idea. So I do it, right? And when I'm coming out the bar, the police and the owner of the bar is outside waiting on me. Because I didn't trip the silent alarm, right? And I get in the police car, and I'm sitting there, and I turn to my disease, and I said, what are we going to do now? I said, bro, you don't even fucking know. I don't know what the fuck to do. So when I came here, I learned to stop listening to the last person I got high with. Because my disease talked to me in my voice, right? And when it talks to me, I talk back. It tell me, let's go get one. I say, you out your fucking, any kids in there? Okay. I haven't got that spiritual yet. You're out of your fucking mind. I'm not going to get one of anything. You know, but my disease today can't hit me in that area anymore, right? So it'll tell me shit like, your wife just left. She's really cute. Get her phone number. I don't know about y'all, but my disease still wants to kill, steal, and destroy me. Yeah. And it don't care about me not using drugs. If you read our literature, it says I suffer from an addiction. It didn't say I suffer from smoking crack. I suffer from a disease which there is no known cure. So I have to work and let it work in this recovery process work in every area of my life, right? I'm going to share this with you guys. I got a phone call last night after my wife got finished sharing. My 13-year-old grandson was missing. And I didn't know if I wanted to stay, leave, right? And I'm all tore up and I'm all in my head about this all day, right? And I didn't think I wanted to share it. Because I didn't think I could give a clear message worrying about this knucklehead, right? But about 6 o'clock this afternoon, my daughter called me and they found him. So when I leave here, I'm going to go put some spiritual principles on him. But listen, learning to live by these spiritual principles is key and real important to my recovery process. I don't know what works for you, but what works for me is doing the step work, right? I was sitting there listening to you guys when they're doing the readings, and y'all weird as fuck, right? Y'all talking about weed, I'm dizzy as fuck up here. But it is a weed program, and I understand that, man. And there's nothing wrong with having fun, right? But I do understand that this is a life or death situation. My life is still at stake. Even with 23 years clean, my life is still at stake, right? As long as I do the work, I know, see, drugs today is not a problem for me until I pick them up, right? So, but I still have the problem, the disease of addiction. You know, the step 2, it talks about that void that we try to feel. That emptiness from that loved one that we just had to let go, right? Oh, y'all wasn't in love? Okay, it was just me. Okay, so that loved one, that love affair that you had for all those years, you have to let it go. So now it's a void there, right? And we try to fill it with every single possible thing we can. But the only thing that's going to fill it is faith and sanity and a higher power. You know what I'm saying? So I spent many years struggling in that area. That's why I have 30 pairs of shoes and 4 vehicles and clothes that I don't even know I own. The casino wasn't my problem because I hate giving away my money. So, but like my wife said last night, when you come here, you stop using, you get an instant pay raise, and there is a lot of benefits to this program, and having a job and being able to travel and having cars and getting your kids back and all that stuff is a benefit of this program, right? But the most beneficial thing that I've gotten since I've gotten here is peace. I have a peace that's beyond understanding. You know, when I got here this morning, I was sitting out there having my coffee, and I just thank God for His grace and mercy. You know, grace, getting what I don't deserve. Mercy, not getting what I do deserve. I don't deserve to be up here in the country with a bunch of beautiful people enjoying myself. I did nothing to deserve this. So the moment that I start thinking that I'm important, that I'm the one that did all the things that I have in my life, I'm in trouble. I got to keep it in perspective to knowing that the God of my understanding and this program gave me everything that I have. So I give back everything that I can. You know, I've been clean, like I said, for 23 years, and I run treatment center, and I remember sitting in those chairs. Y'all remember those treatment center chairs? Those are just hard as fuck, right? And I remember sitting in those chairs saying, I'm never coming back to this place ever again. God, do you hear me? I'm never coming back in this building. He said, okay. Keep telling me what you're going to do. I've been doing H&I at that building for the past 20 years. I can't get, it's like, man, even when I tried to give the meeting away, I couldn't. You know, I get a sponsee and groom, okay, you're going to run the meeting, and then they don't show up. But this process has given me a life, man, that is so beautiful. I was sitting up reflecting. I heard someone share about the last time they used, right? And I was sitting up reflecting. And for the people that's new, that's just getting here, I'm not trying to run you back out with graphic stories, right? This is my story. But I remember being stuck. That feeling of being stuck. And see, I was the addict that would go in the bedroom, lock the door, put the dresser in front of the door, and take a hit. And then I have to move the dresser, open the door so I can run and look out the window. And I would get stuck in the window. I don't know why that memory popped in my head today, but I remember being stuck in that window, right? And it'd be 7 o'clock in the afternoon. 7 o'clock in the morning. People coming and going to school, and I'm stuck in the window, thinking no one can see me, right? And it got so bad that after being stuck in the window for 45 minutes, and then I would, a vicious cycle, right? I'm running back and forth from the window. Well, I said, fuck it, I'll just get high in the window. Sick as fuck, man. At the end of the road, the disease told me, I had a grandmother that was loving and caring, and she did everything in the world to try to help me. So she never put me out, right? She never locked the door. No matter how many times I stole from her, she never locked the door. She never put me out. But I would leave home for months and months at a time because I could not stay at home, right? So I became homeless by choice. But I'm not insane. I got a warm bed, food, hot water, but I'm sleeping in an abandoned car. But I'm rational. There's nothing wrong with me. It's you guys. I just need one more. When my disease told me, instead of going home to eat, go behind the restaurant, kick the dumpster, and then jump in the dumpster to eat.
You better share it. Alone.
See, that's where my disease took me. Not literally. Not figuratively. Literally. I ate out of dumpsters. I would jump in Church's Chicken dumpster, rip open the bags, find pieces of chicken, and eat it in the dumpster. If that's not your story, please stay here. Because if you go back and use, put a yet on that shit. I did it for you. Cold chicken in the garbage can is not that good. You don't have to do it. The key is stop listening to the last person you got high with. Listen, the first word in our book is what? No, it's fucking not. The first word in our book is simplicity. This is a simple program. Y'all need to keep coming. So this is a simple program, right? We tell you that, and this is for the newcomer, for the newer member. I was in a meeting earlier today, and they were talking about the progression of recovery, right? And they were talking about how we as older members are scared to tell the newer members, give the process of recovery like it was given to us, right? Most time when I do talks, I tell people full disclaimer, my name is Gordon and I'm an asshole, right? And if I say anything to hurt your feelings, if I say anything that upsets you, if I say anything that causes you to have feelings, I don't give a fuck. Tell your sponsor. I'd rather you be mad at me in here than liking me and out in the dope house.
Come on.
So I tell, the literature says that all the time, old members, we have to tell new members the truth. And the truth is, freedom ain't free. This shit is hard. Living life on life terms is not fucking pink rainbows and unicorns. It takes work to do this. But the payoff.
Come on, man.
My kids call me daddy today. My grandkids love me and think I walk on water. My granddaughter, my wife was talking about, she's 17, and she say, yo, Rich, you out your rabbit ass mind. My younger daughter say, we got money. No, you broke. I got money. But I have a relationship with my kids today. Benefit.
Yeah, share that.
I can walk around with my head held high. Benefit. I can tell you my real name today. Benefit. I no longer have to make up aliases. I have about 14 of them. Today, my name is Gordon Jones. And I'm okay with sharing that because anything that I say, anything that I do is above reproach, and I don't care if you share it. You know, we talk about anonymity as the spiritual foundation of all our traditions. They remind us of principles for personalities. What you see here and who you see here, please let us stay here. Bullshit. I will say something like that shit gonna be back in Detroit before I get there. But here's the hit. I don't care. Because if I share it first, I don't care what you do with it. The freedom to be able to be who God intended me to be. That's what this program allows me. Right? We come in here on Image Patrol and want to be everybody else. Well, guess what? I got a secret for you. Everybody else is taking it. Be you. I had no idea what I was going to talk about. Never wanted to know what I'm going to talk about. My sponsor always said, get a topic and stay on topic. She get on my goddamn nerves. And yes, I have a woman sponsor. She just celebrated 30 years. Now, if you're new in recovery, I suggest that if you're a man, get a man, a woman, get a woman. My first sponsor was a man for the first 10 years of my recovery. He was my sponsor until he passed away. So I did take the suggestion, right? I didn't pick her because she was cute, had a big booty, or no. She was my first sponsor's wife, and she knew me, and she had a real good working knowledge of this program. And in this IP sponsorship, it says find a person and addict with a working knowledge of this program. That's what the IP says. It don't say shit in our literature about men get men and women get women. That's something that we do. And it's a good suggestion. I'm not taking that, it is a good suggestion, right? But when older members like Cooper come up to me, you should have a man sponsor. Get out of my face. I'm using his time, not its identity, right? Oh, remember the dinosaurs, right? Dinosaur. You know, I'm a predecessor. He's a dinosaur. Listen, if you're new, get to work. Get to work.
Yeah.
It's never too early to start your step work.
Right.
You know, and if you're old and you're not doing step work, you're a fucking idiot. Get to work. It's never too late to start your step work.
Come on.
You know what I'm saying? Step work is the key to the freedom. You know, it's the key. I'm telling you, here's a key. So you can get $1 million, you're going to take it, right? I'm telling you, here's the key to unlimited possibilities.
Share.
Why not take it? Why not take it? I was sharing with a young lady standing on the grass that step 4 for me wasn't the scary step. You know, step 11 was scary for me, right? But step 4, I was ready because my sponsor had prepared me in 1, 2, and 3, right? To do this step. You know, a lot of people say that they're scared to look at themselves. I don't know why. He was there. Why the fuck are you scared to look at something that you know you did? So in writing my last 4th step, I was able to, and we talk about that onion that we peel away from, right? God's not going to put more in front of you than you can handle, right? And so I'm about 15, 17 years clean. And God finally said, okay, it's time for you to talk about being molested. Oh my God, yeah, I'm talking about that shit. No. Going to my grave with that one. You know, but my sponsor and I worked through that. I wrote about it, and I was able to share that I was molested as a little boy, right? And I was able to get real honest about it, right? And while I was writing this step, the person that molested me reached out to me via Facebook. Hey, Gordon, how are you? Dude, really? So I told my sponsor, what should I do with this? Thank God for sponsorship. Yeah. She said, talk to him. Then forgive him. Like, you know, I'm from Schoolcraft. We don't forgive that motherfucking easy. Anyway, I did what she suggested, right? And then I got real honest about it. The first time he did it, I was a victim. But every time after that, I became a volunteer. And I volunteered because I liked it. No, I'm not gay. But as a 9-year-old kid, that feeling of sensation, I understand that my body didn't know the difference. And why am I sharing this? I'm sharing this because maybe it'll give someone the strength. To free themselves. Right? Me sharing that doesn't make me less than anybody else. Right? What it makes me is freer and happier. Because I don't have to carry that shit anymore. Honesty, open-mindedness, and willingness. With these, we're well on our way. I didn't know that this program was going to change me without my permission. Sometimes y'all get on my fucking nerves. Case in point, me and my wife were getting married, and we were at our venue paying for our wedding, right? And I know I owe money left on my venue. So I put the money that I owe in my pocket. Get to the lady's desk, and she say, well, Mr. Jones and Mrs. Harsher, you guys are all set. You're ready to go. You know, everything looks all, I'm thinking to myself, what? yeah, you guys are good. You're all set. I said, are you sure? She said, yeah, everything's paid for. You're all paid in full. You know what my disease was saying. She got $3,000. But my conscience said, ma'am, would you please check your records one more time? So she got up from the desk and I looked at my wife and I said, hey, if she come back to this table and say we good one more time, we good. But she come back and she was like, oh my God, thank you so much. Oh, you guys have a $3,000 balance. I'm like, duh. She like, and I could have lost my job. And I said, you know what? Here you are. Thank you so much. No, bitch, thank you. Narcotics Anonymous. Because I'm the addict that walk out the store and they pay for the gum and be like, yeah, I hit a lick. Change, right? Without my permission. Me and my wife, we went in the merchandise room. We bought a couple of hoodies, some shirts, and I bought one of those coolers, a little thermos. We go outside to smoke, and we sit there. I said, hey, how much this stuff cost? She said, blah, blah, blah. Ain't none of y'all business what I spent. And I said, man, that don't sound right. I said, did you pay for the thermos? She was like, I don't know. Was it on the table? I was like, yeah. So instead of me like, yeah, I hit a lick, I got over on Ripley, right? I hop my happy ass and run back in there. I don't think I paid for this. Who the fuck are you? Since when do you go back to the scene of the crime and admit that you didn't pay for something? Growth and change. It just don't feel good anymore, right? 6 and 7, 7 and 8. Our shortcomings and character. No, 6 and 7. I had it right the first time. Our character defects and our shortcomings, right? Someone told me the other day that step 5 is a holding pattern. It's a holding place. It's a place that you wait. And I was like, wow, it really is. I didn't think about it like that, but 6 and 7, your character defects is your shortcomings, right? And I understand today that some of my character defects God have removed, and one of them is stealing, right? It just don't feel good anymore. Now, some of the other ones, I still like to play with sometimes. Okay. I'm just being honest. I know all you guys, wrote your 6 and your 7 and you have no more character defects. I get it. I understand. But I understand that my character defects have character defects. It's like a tree with branches. If I'm angry, now I'm going to act out on rage. 2 different character defects, right? But one, manifests as the other. So understand, and some of my character defects I'm okay with holding on with, like being an asshole. It fits. I like it. But one of them that I'm really trying to work with is lying, right? Lying for no reason.
Come on now.
And so I'm trying to be more truthful. And my wife tells me I'm always wrong. And I tell her she's right. So if I'm always wrong and I'm telling her she's right, I'm wrong, right? Man, listen, this process, this program, it supported me such a beautiful life, man. I'm just astounded. I get up every morning and I do the morning meditation, and I thank God for waking me up, and I'm excited about what He has in store for me today.
Come on.
I'm excited. about living this life. You know, I turned 60 years old this year, and I never thought that I would see 60, let alone 30. You know, me and my wife, we get to travel. I love it. I love it. You know, my wife was talking about the granddaughter moving into the house with us, and she was the daughter of the devil. But we raised our children. Our children are all grown, but now I have this 16-year-old spawn of Satan in my house. But I'm a lover because, like my wife says, she's an addict. And I can see it, right? But I had to make a decision a couple of weeks ago to send her back home to her mom. Because she was robbing me of my peace. And I couldn't do it anymore. So I had to give her back to God before I sent her back to God. Because I can't have a 17-year-old stand in my face and tell me, you got shut the fuck up talking to me, bro. Yeah, you need to go home before I send you home. So I made a decision to send her back home, and it wasn't a decision I took very lightly because I helped so many people outside, and it saddens me that I can't be there to help my own grandchild. Right? But unfortunately, as an addict, she's going to have to go through her process. And it hurts and it pains me to have to watch, right? But I understand that no addict is going to stop using until they're sick and tired. You know, I am real grateful for everything that happened to me in my active addiction. I am grateful for all the you understand me's. Y'all don't know what that is? Ain't nobody ever jump on you and be like, you understand me? No. Yeah. So I don't want no more you understand me's. I don't want to take no more ass whoopings. I'm too old to run from the police. I can't jump any more fences. I like eating steak and lobster. They don't throw that shit away in the dumpsters. So it's better if I just stay here, right? But I'm real grateful for everything that I had to go through out there because I tell everybody, and they ask me, Gordon, how have you never relapsed? Because I remember my last one, and I got that right ass whooping out there. If you got that right ass whooping out there, oh, you become willing. Real easy. For the newcomers, we took every suggestion they gave us in the street. Every suggestion they gave us. Don't come too early. Don't bring no change. Stand over here. Sit over there. Turn it upside down. Burn it this way. We took every suggestion in the street. But we come in here and we give you guys 6 simple suggestions to save your life. And you don't want to try it. But then you say, I'm not insane. So maybe just try. We spent millions of dollars. Collectively, we spent millions of dollars trying to kill ourselves. Now we have something that will save our life and we get it for free. Free. I don't know about y'all, but when they said they had 2-for-1s, I was the first one in line. Something free. But I come here and don't want to follow the suggestions. And the suggestion is just a subtle command, right? So, how about this? Make a fucking meeting, do the fucking step work, get a fucking sponsor, call somebody. I'm not asking you, I'm telling you. Do some fucking steps, some service work. Get outside of yourself and help somebody else. Did that make it easier? I'm such an ass. Thank you, baby. Listen, I don't know. if I said anything that made any sense or if I have anything else left to say. But I know this. How many people here is under 30 days? We got anybody under a year? There we go. Okay, so I always do this at treatment centers, H&I, or when I'm speaking in front of newer members. So I'm going to do it with you guys, right? The first thing is, step 3. We made a decision to turn our will and life over to care of God as we understood it, right? It's 3 frogs sitting on a log. 2 of them make a decision to jump in the water. How many frogs left on the log? 3? Thank you. And then probably wasn't a new member that said that. Shut up. Decision means nothing without action. Right. All right. So my first year, and I got clean in Detroit, and it was a dope house on every other block, liquor store on every corner, right? So if you're going to recover in Detroit, you're going to recover anywhere. But what I did for my first year, I did 2 things, and I stayed clean. And I guarantee if you do these 2 things, you won't get high. You want to know what they are? Give me $5. No. First thing is, and I've said it about 3-4 times, stop listening to the last person you got high with. Just stop listening to him. Because that motherfucker trying to kill you. Just stop. He say something, do the opposite. Just stop listening to him. Second, when your thinking tell you, let's go get one, tell it tomorrow. 9 times out of 10, it's going to leave you alone for the rest of the day. Tomorrow when you wake up, your disease is going to say, it's tomorrow. You tell it, no bitch, it's today. Holler at me tomorrow. Tomorrow never come. All we have is today, just for today. My name is Gordon. Thanks for letting me.